Location systems are used to track down missing people. Project Lifesaver is a GPS tracking system that helps safeguard children with autism. A mother of a child with autism, Alicia Coleman, is organizing to put these systems into place after tragedy struck her community. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Alicia.
Thanks for having me.
Well, to start off, what is Project Lifesaver?
It's a system that was developed by law enforcement officials to help keep track of people with cognitive disorders, including autism, Down syndrome, and also people with Alzheimer's.
So how does this device work?
The person with the disability would wear a tracking device, which we brought with us, and and basically if they step outside of a certain perimeter that's been set up by a caregiver, or if they get too far away from a receiver, it'll automatically set off an alert so that they can be tracked down.
Well, you have all this information, but what really propelled you to really want to use this tracking device?
Well, on August 3rd of this year, my 5-year-old son went missing. Despite the fact that we have alarms on every door and deadbolts on every door, he saw a small window of opportunity and he took it, and was found about an hour later near the river by the golf course in East Grand Forks. And it was the most terrifying thing that I've ever gone through. So a few days afterwards, when businesses opened back up, I started calling around to try and get support, and 4 days later was when Anthony Kuznia went missing. And at that point in time, I decided that it was time to push until it happened.
Explain to me really, after finding your son, but then knowing 4 days later this was happening to somebody else's child, what was going through your mind?
I heard about it on the radio. I was coming home from the grocery store, and when I heard, I went home and told my husband, I said, I have to go out and help look. I have to go and help find him. And because I knew how scared I was when my boy went missing. And, just getting out there to try and help, was what I could do at the time. And with, when we found out that he had passed away, this is what I can do to help now.
How did this event really propel the police to get involved in this tragedy?
Well, I had contacted the chief of police in East Grand Forks after my son went missing, and right after Anthony went missing is when he got back in contact with me, and he was all for it. Let's do it, and he wrote up a grant proposal, and at the same time I started fundraising so that either way, whether the grant was approved or not, we would get the system in place. So now that the grant's been approved, we're just waiting on them to come out and do the installation to get it started.
Well, your story and your organization is really inspiring. What really made you want to foster hope out of tragedy?
Well, I just think that it's such a simple fix. In the grand scheme of things, $4,000 is a drop in the bucket for the police to get that up and running. And with the Be a Lifesaver project that I'm running and the money that we're raising from that, I want the families that need the bracelets to be able to get them without having to be concerned about the cost, because it is such an easy fix.
Well, just to lead into that question, we have the GPS technology right here on the table. How much does this cost? Is it for families very affordable?
This particular one is only $100, and it can function as a standalone system, or it can work with the Project Lifesaver equipment at the police department. So when the equipment gets installed at East Grand Forks, the bracelet will work with their system. And for people who live outside of the coverage area for the system, it can work as a standalone system. So if you live in a small town that doesn't have Project Lifesaver in place, it can work on its own as well. So
what are these two pieces? That's the watch, and is that the locator? Or?
Right, this is the receiver, and The way it works as a standalone device, this wouldn't really come into play with the Project Lifesaver equipment at the police department, but when it's working as a standalone system, if you can do two things. You can set up a perimeter. You go online to the website and you draw a perimeter around your home or the child's school or wherever you're going to be. And if they go outside of that perimeter, it automatically sets off an alarm, both on the receiver and it'll text message you on your cell phone. The other way that this works for if you're on the go, if you are going to the mall and you don't want to have to go and set a perimeter for every building you're going to visit, you can set a proximity alarm. So my son's very young, so it's set to 25 yards right now. If he, with the watch on, gets more than 25 yards away from the receiver, it'll automatically set off the alarm and start tracking.
One last question for you. How does really being the head of this organization and really taking it head on as the leader, how has this impacted you?
It's busy. It's very it's very busy, and you know, but I just think it's something that absolutely has to be done, and it's one of those times where you can't wait around for somebody else to do it, and you just pick it up and run with it. So.
Well, your story is very inspirational. I really do wish you all the luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely.